I'm still not sure it actually happened. I sometimes still wonder if, we're not just going to wake up from some weird nightmare and he never went to Paris Saint-Germain.
Lionel Messi will not be continuing at Barcelona.
Lionel Messi will leave the club.
But we still all thought that it could not end like this.
Are you kidding me? I think this is a bluff big time.
The best player at Barcelona, if not the best player in the world.
Suddenly what looked like a dream and maybe coming one day to Paris is now far more reality than anything else.
It's going to be like playing in the school playground for Messi.
If you ask, how good was Messi at Barcelona? You're asking me, how liquid is water? How gaseous is gas? Messi is the epitome of quality, talent at Barcelona.
The GOAT, the greatest player of all times in modern football. He led Barcelona to 32 trophies. He holds the Guinness World Record for most goals scored a season. 50 goals for the 2011-12 La Liga season. He won 7 Ballon d'Or awards and 6 Golden Shoes.
From legendary to one of a kind. Because those 50 goals a season were now happening over a decade. So it is productivity, it is talent, it's consistency, it's drive, it's winning.
The sheer brilliance, the imagination, the genius, the key part in the greatest club team that we've ever seen in football as well. This is his legacy at Barcelona. He was the greatest and they were the greatest.
He was like the main guy to watch in any game for any rival, and he was the guy who everyone would pay a ticket for.
I don't think we'll kind of really realise how good he was until, 10, 15 years after he retires, when we look back and think, wow, there's been nobody to touch him ever since.
It seemed all perfect, right? Well, eventually it did not have such a Hollywood romantic movie end, right?
Lionel Messi dominating the headlines everywhere with his breaking news that he has told the club he wants out, and it could be for free because it's going to be an extension of that out clause that we knew that he had earlier on in the season.
He says he wants to go and he wants to go now.
The main issue for Messi right now in Barcelona is Bartomeu and the board and his people.
Okay, I don't see the plan. I don't see the structure. What are we doing in the future? What players are we bringing in? Who's on the field? Who's going to help us off the field? Who's going to help us? Those questions have not been answered to his liking.
Early indication is that neither side is budging from their positions. Jorge Messi reiterating that Lionel wants to leave Barcelona. Barcelona reiterating that he's still under contract until June 30th, 2021.
Maybe this season it was just too much. It was just too much for Messi. It was too much for other players as well. We saw how the season unfolded, especially after the restart, and everything went completely pear-shaped.
The first time when I realized that Messi was starting to be at the wrong place, I think it was right before, and I'm saying right before, not right after, Liverpool knockout in Champions League. I was with him in an interview, and I saw him sad. And when I saw him that sad, I was like, man, he's not enjoying Barca anymore.
He was unhappy with the team. He was unhappy with the way of running the club. He was really frustrated for that defeats. I was speech-eyed in all that defeats, and you could see the face of being disappointed, being unhappy of such a competitive animal as Lionel Messi was, and he still is.
And that's why, for me, he should have left in that season, at the end of that season, because he wasn't feeling that good as before, and he was starting to be a problem for Barca.
The thing is, I think Messi and his camp realized pretty quickly that it was going to be difficult to move, because he obviously still had a year left with that sort of year in option left at the club. So Barcelona were within their rights to say, okay, we need a transfer fee here. We can ask anything we want. You're Leo Messi.
You have to remember too, we're talking, this is late August 2020. There's a transfer window. when you're already in a poor financial situation, which you know is going to get worse because of COVID, losing your biggest asset, that is a huge blow to your brand. So I don't think Barcelona would have ever agreed to letting him go.
From where he thought maybe they would set him free and then he could go to Manchester City because that's where he would have gone, and to be reunited with Pep Guardiola, I think pretty quickly they all realised,
If Messi's seriously thinking about winning things, and there's only PSG and Man City to choose from.
And there is a role for him in Manchester City that I think would be perfect for both Manchester City and the player.
If the courts say, no, he's got to stay in Barcelona, in some ways that's even worse, and he's still going to walk as a free agent in June.
You know, Man City were always interested in Messi. So from the moment that Pep Guardiola arrived in 2016, there was always this plan, or it was almost like it locked away in the kind of the vault that if Messi ever became available, they would be ready to go. And they obviously, Chiqui Begiristain, the director of football at City, had Barcelona connections. Ferran Soriano, the chief exec, Barca connections. So they knew Messi, they knew what it would take to get him, and it was always there ready to go. It wasn't just about what he would do on the pitch in terms of, be this superstar player. It would also be the commercial value, because one thing that City have been trying to do over the years is to have a player that would elevate their status to make them move alongside the likes of Man United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona, as a club that has these iconic players. They may have done that now by signing Erling Haaland, but Messi was the fast track to that, and it never quite happened. But they were definitely serious, and they missed out quite closely a couple of times.
He was in complete disagreement with Bartomeu and his team because he'd clashed so many times that season, 2019-2020, with Abidal, with Bartomeu, with other people at the club. So many shenanigans happening that he didn't like. For someone who's usually so quiet, so introvert, for him to speak up, for him to get angry, for him to respond on social media even, is like, whoa, something really bad is happening here, has happened there. As much as he hated Bartomeu and that kind of team at the top of the club, I don't think he really wanted to go to war with them.
So eventually they forced Messi to stay. He was kind of unhappy, but decided to stay and to accomplish his contract. But at the very end, we all know how the story ends. And in looking into perspective, it would have been the best, probably for both parts, for Lionel Messi and for Barcelona, letting him go 1 year before they actually forced him to leave.
He also knew there were elections coming, and it was very likely that someone like Laporta, who obviously he liked and trusted before, would come in and be elected as the new president. So things would change. He knew things were going to change, yet he still wanted to go, but very quickly it was unrealistic.
So after all that fuss, Lionel Messi is staying put at Barcelona after all. Alex Kirkland joining me now from Spain.
I don't know about you, but I think now this whole thing looks like a huge miscalculation on Messi's part. What's he achieved after all of this noise and fuss and drama? Well, he's achieved absolutely nothing.
It smells to me that from Barcelona's perspective and the president, Dan, this was nothing less than a betrayal of the best player in the world, a betrayal of his captain, and a betrayal of an individual who clearly and made it clear to the club and to the president that he wanted to go.
My gut feeling from the very start, Dan, is I think it was a power play by Lionel Messi, and it has been going on for quite a while because he's seen it unfolding. He's seen the dressing room get weaker. The signings that have come in have been nowhere near good enough to challenge for La Liga and European honours. And I think it's a power play to get the current president gone.
Maria Bartomeu, Barcelona's president, is no more Barcelona's president. That thing that you can hear is probably a cheer from Lionel Messi and Gerard Piqué and the likes, because Augie, this was inevitable, wasn't it?
It was either Messi that was going to go eventually or Bartomeu, and there's not only one winner in that kind of battle, it's Lionel Messi. So for Messi, it's a big victory. It gives Lionel Messi the chance not only to stay beyond the end of this season, but this could be Lionel Messi staying at Barca for the rest of his career.
There are some big reports that Lionel Messi is pretty much in agreement with Barcelona to stay on there. It could be a 5-year deal, we're hearing.
Barcelona are now satisfied that they and Messi are on exactly the same page on this, and that this will now go ahead. The truth, though, is that no one will be completely relaxed until this is actually signed, until it's signed and it's cleared with the footballing authorities.
Messi's staying is absolutely huge, and we're not even talking about what happens on the field yet.
A happy Messi benefits Barcelona.
The latest is that it could be no Lionel Messi playing for Barcelona until January if they can't shift that wage bill that they need to do to make room to register him.
Yeah, I liken it to being in the supermarket when you've done your weekly shop and you've got there to the checkout and you've maxed out on your credit card.
How does a club like Barcelona, a club as big as they are with their presence in world football, find themselves in this position?
Barcelona have released a short statement explaining that Lionel Messi will leave the club. There was an agreement with Messi over a new contract, but the problem is with the spending limit imposed by La Liga.
This was the statement that was attached to that. Despite FC Barcelona and Lionel Messi having reached an agreement and the clear intention of both parties to sign a new contract today, this could not happen because of Spanish La Liga regulations on player registration.
I was surprised by it at first because I told myself, wait a minute, you knew what the salary cap was. Did you do your sums wrong? I mean, that floored me. That was my first reaction. It's a lot easier to blame Tebas and La Liga than it is maybe to suggest that you got your sums wrong.
How does this drag out all summer long, and within 24 hours of him arriving back in Catalonia, this bombshell of news? And it really is farcical.
Bueno, buen día. La verdad que no sé si va a poder hablar. En estos últimos días, estuve pensando, dándole vuelta a ver qué iba a decir, qué podía decir. La verdad que no me salía nada. Estaba bloqueado, como no estoy ahora todavía. Es muy difícil esto para mí, después de tantos años, de hacer toda mi vida acá. No estaba preparado. La verdad que el año pasado, cuando se armó todo el lío del Burofax y todo eso, sí que lo estaba, sabía lo que tenía que decir y estaba convencido, pero este año no. Este año estaba convencido mi familia y yo de que íbamos a seguir acá, que íbamos a seguir en nuestra casa, que era lo que más queríamos.
I think, like many people, as I'm watching it, that somehow somebody was going to stop the press conference and say, no. Hey, it's not happening. We've managed. Here it is, last minute deal. We figured it out. We got the numbers. We figured out with La Liga. We figured out with Barcelona. Lionel, you don't have to leave.
No one could believe that. The best player of all time, he wanted to stay, and the club he was playing all his career couldn't pay, couldn't afford, and couldn't find a solution. It looked so unreal. It was such a big impact and such a big surprise.
I never quite believed it. I just thought that he was one of those players that would always be at Barcelona, that Barca would always find a way to keep him, and that they would always have this kind of, they'd stare each other out every now and again and try and, get the edge over each other, but they always seem to stay together.
I was like, first of all, kind of surprised at the beginning because I thought that Laporta, who was the president by then, he was going to keep Leo Messi because of the relationship that they had in the first era of Laporta's president of Football Club Barcelona.
It was an ending that we knew it was coming at some point, but it came earlier than we had anticipated. He was almost pushed out the door because they simply could not afford him.
It went wrong because the people running that club Whether you blame Laporta first spell, whether you blame Bartomeu, whoever you want to blame, but people who were running that club messed it up completely. This is, for me, it's as simple as that. Nothing to do with Messi, nothing to do with his talent, nothing to do with how much money he wanted in terms of contract.
Things came to the fore owing to a number of factors. Obviously, the fact that he had an enormous contract, one which frankly is difficult to justify.
555,273,619 euros was apparently how much his contract was worth when he signed it back in 2017.
All the people blame Bartomeu since Messi wanted to stay, since Laporta wanted him to stay beside the final problems. So that's why Bartomeu for me is the main guy to blame in this situation.
If you're a Barcelona fan, you first blame Bartomeu, without a doubt, because once again, and it's not just me picking on him, although I don't like him, the way he ran that club during his years as the Barcelona president was an absolute disgrace, and he almost dug in, really, the tunnel in which Messi left to go to Paris.
The fans, the supporters, they didn't follow the rules, and they went to the Camp Nou to demonstrate, to show Messi his support. We saw pictures of fans crying with Messi's t-shirts, with a lot of signs or words saying, please Messi stay, do whatever, insulting the previous president Bartomeu.
Is anyone guilty of this situation? I mean, I don't want to go on and on about the inheritance and the awful decisions that were made in the past, but we haven't had 6 months. We've had less. I said that we would do everything possible for Messi to stay at Barca within the economical situation of the club. And we reached an agreement with Messi, but we weren't able to formalize it because of the economical situation that the club is going through.
A mi m'agradaria saber, l'altre dia el president Laporta va dir que no estava disposat a hipotecar el club per ningú, si els últims dies, a les últimes hores, tens la sensació que el Barça ho ha fet tot per tu, que ha fet l'impossible perquè seguissis vestint la samarreta del Barça. Gràcies.
No sé, lo que tengo claro es que yo sí hice todo lo posible. El club, Laporta, dijo que no se pudo por un tema de liga, pero escuché muchísimas cosas que se dijo sobre mí, por qué no seguía o lo que sea, pero te puedo asegurar que de mi parte también hice todo lo posible para quedarme, porque quería quedarme. El año pasado no quería quedarme y también lo dije, y este año sí que quería y no se pudo.
But there was a long time between Laporta being elected, taking over, reviewing everything, realizing how bad things were, and they were really bad, and the moment where Messi thought it was all there, new contract in place for him to stay, and actually realizing, oh, hang on a minute, what, you can't keep me?
And I think he probably would have gotten the new deal in ordinary circumstances, if not for one crucial factor. The fact that Barcelona were already in a really, really difficult financial position. This was partly down to some poor decisions that they made, some poor use of resources, poor signings, expensive signings that they made. And that in turn was all made worse, on top of that, by COVID. And obviously the pandemic affecting Barcelona more than most because they've got one of the biggest stadiums in Europe, which got shut down. The Barcelona Museum is the second most visited museum in all of Spain. Had there been no pandemic, there would have still been wrong decisions in my view, but the situation wouldn't have been so bad, and maybe Messi would have been at the club, and maybe there'd be a whole alternate timeline, like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think circus is the right word because it was handled so badly, from start to finish, and one day we will really know exactly what happened. One day, someone will tell the truth.
The club themselves, they told us, the journalists, we are always next to Barcelona, that everything was done. The message we were receiving all the time is, don't worry, we have it sorted out. We will find a solution. It's difficult, but this will be happening. There will be a renewal of Lionel Messi. So that was the message we were receiving off the record all the time.
It felt to me, and from what I could gather, certainly when it was announced that he was leaving, that there was either miscommunication or there were just lies.
It's difficult to believe that the decision to leave was about money, or that it was about La Liga rules and whatever. Because frankly, it wasn't. You managed to sign Sergio Aguero, right? You're telling me that you couldn't have given that same money that you gave Sergio Aguero, you couldn't have given it to Messi. Honestly, but this is a question that nobody's ever satisfactorily answered to me.
Such a romantic football story ending in such a ugly divorce, a crazy thing that no one could understand, and it took time for the fans to go back to Camp Nou. We saw so many games at the Camp Nou half empty. It took time for them to say, okay, that's a part of this club, of my club story, that it's gone.
Bueno, a ver, Leo quería quedarse, por lo tanto.
Leo wanted to stay.
No está contento.
So he's not happy.
Todos teníamos la intención y las ganas de que se quedara.
We all wanted him to stay.
Pero él ahora pues también se enfrenta como nosotros a la realidad.
For him right now, it's a situation in which he has to confront reality. It's a reality that can't be changed.
Yo lo que sí que ya sabe él y su familia.
And he knows that I wish him the best wherever he goes.
Si este ha sido el momento más difícil de tu carrera deportiva.
Sí, creo que sí, sin duda que.
I am 100% certain something could have been worked out if they'd wanted to work it out, but they didn't.
I don't know, but it's so ugly, and it's certainly not the way the whole story should have ended for, again, the greatest player in club football history, and what he did for that football club for 20 years. We still all thought that it could not end like this, that Messi just could not end up being a Barcelona player in that way, that somehow this could get resolved, and yet PSG were always around, and it's getting closer and closer for an agreement between Leo Messi, his father Jorge, and PSG for a 3-year deal.
I would suggest that this is absolutely the perfect move for Messi. He can go and play because this side will not have to play from the first minute to the last minute every single time they step on the field.
If it's then Paris Saint-Germain at the end of the day, it will catapult the Ligue 1 into almost in the top ranks. I mean, it will compete with the Premier League.
Of course, we are all going to enjoy it. I'm not a supporter of Paris Saint-Germain, but I can tell you I'm going to watch every single game of them every single weekend.
But I think within 2 or 3 days, we're going to know that Messi, Neymar and Mbappe are playing together. That's completely crazy.
How I reacted when I really believed that he was leaving? Yes! 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 Because then there was only one club he could join, and that was my club. It was PSG.
I'm very happy and very proud to present Leo Messi as Paris Saint-Germain player. And this is amazing and historic day for the club, for the football world, and it is a fantastic moment for us. 10 years ago, there were people said what they're gonna do on their club, what they're gonna do on their project. And we have big ambition, high ambition project, a football project. And we are very proud where we are today, thanks to everybody.
Bueno, buen día. Antes que nada, agradecer primero la palabra del presidente, decir que estoy muy feliz. Todos saben mi salida del Barcelona hace unos días, donde...
Wow, I was there for his press conference when he was announced the club. He was a yard away from me, and my heart was like beating, and I was in awe. I was in absolute love to see him at the Parc des Princes, in the stadium where I used to go as a 4-year-old to see like not average players at the time, good players, but not the greatest of all time. Then I saw rubbish players in that stadium, and now the greatest player of all time was there in front of me, holding a PSG shirt, being a PSG player for the next 2 years with a third one in option as well. I was like, this is Christmas / all my birthdays all put together. I remember leaving the Parc des Princes on the moped and going towards the Champs-Élysées to go and buy the shirt for my children. And then as I'm going up towards the Arc de Triomphe, there's this like minibus, literally like a van, with a huge LED screen at the back of it, with Messi's face and the number 30 shirt. He was everywhere. It was incredible. Like Messi took over Paris.
La verdad que increíble todo lo que estoy viendo desde que llegué a París. La gente una locura, cómo salió a la calle. Desde que salió el comunicado de Barcelona que no seguía, que está la calle afuera sin haber nada, ya pensando de que ya estaba todo y que venía para acá, y todavía no habíamos ni empezado a hablar, y la verdad que impresionante todo este cariño. Es mi primera experiencia fuera de otro club que no sea Barcelona, y fueron momentos muy lindos para mí, para mi familia, para los nenes. Así que después de un golpe duro estamos felices otra vez y con ganas de que arranque todo.
It was the right choice. Of course, it's the right choice. It's a team with Neymar, one of his greatest friends, and Kylian Mbappé, the third, fourth best player in the world at that time.
Quel est votre sentiment à l'idée de jouer aux côtés de Neymar et Kylian Mbappé?
La verdad que una felicidad enorme, una locura, como es que recién poder compartir el día a día con esta plantilla que tiene grandísimos jugadores en toda su línea, que se han hecho fichajes espectaculares, aparte de lo que había, y mucha ilusión por empezar a entrenar y a competir, porque lo voy a hacer con los mejores, y eso siempre es lindo, y es hermoso vivir el día a día y poder disfrutar de todo eso.
It's a club with an Argentine manager, Mauricio Pochettino. It's a club that has just done semi-final of the Champions League back-to-back. It's a team that has stars everywhere, that has a huge marketing potential for you as Lionel Messi. So you will benefit from joining them in terms of sponsoring deals, marketing, all of that. And they will hugely benefit from you being there. It's Paris, it's an amazing city, it's not far from Barcelona, so you can easily fly on your private jet to go back home for the weekend if you want, when you have even a day off is enough. So it made so much sense for that to happen, for Messi to join PSG in what was, and will, I think, stay for a long time as one of the biggest, greatest transfers of all time.
For me, PSG wasn't the right choice. I understand that Messi had some friends on PSG locker room, like, for example, Leandro Paredes or even Neymar.
I mean, for me, the right choice and the most interesting for a sport journalist would have seen going to Man City.
I never understood why, if 1 year before leaving Barca, Messi had all agreed with Man City. I don't really understand why he finally chose PSG.
I think it would have been, for football, very interesting to see back Lionel Messi with Pep Guardiola, and with that team that plays that way. It's kind of similar to Barcelona. It would have been footballistically very, very, very interesting. It couldn't be that, so I don't know if PSG was the right choice, but it was the only choice.
There's only one club. City were not coming back for him because after the summer 2020, they'd moved on already. You know, they really should sign for £100 million. It was not for him anymore. So it could have gone to MLS, of course, or it could have maybe gone back to Argentina. But with the World Cup in Qatar in 2022, which was likely to be his last one, Argentina were very much on the up. I don't think he could leave Europe, really. He had to find a competitive club that can help him winning the Champions League, where he will stay fit and get ready also for the 2022 World Cup.
Creo que llegó a un equipo que prácticamente está hecho, más allá de los fichajes importantes que se hicieron esta temporada. Como dije recién, estuvo muy cerquita en los últimos años de poder ganar la Champions, y yo vengo a ayudar, a intentar de dar el máximo. Vengo con muchísima ilusión, con más ganas que nunca.
Ese Barça post-Messi, ¿cómo lo describiría?
Pero yo creo que espero y deseo que el capítulo Messi no haya terminado aún en el Barça. Y bueno, creo que es nuestra responsabilidad el conseguir que ese capítulo, que todavía está abierto, que no se ha cerrado, tenga un momento en el que se pueda hacer como se debía haber hecho, y además pues tenga un final mucho más esplendoroso de lo que fue.
I hope Lionel Messi does not return to Barcelona as a player, even if he plays for free, because I think by the time his Paris Saint-Germain contract is up, it's going to be a different Messi. And you know, there is a natural kind of passing of the baton that has to happen, and whether it's Ansu Fati or Gavi or whatever, or Pedri, there are people to pick up his mantle.
I think if you're Barcelona, you moved away from that now, and you have to look forward, not backward. You appreciate what Messi has done for you, and in the end, I think it was great for everybody. We appreciate it for what it was, but I don't think it would be a good idea for Barcelona.
I see Leo Messi right after he ends his new era at PSG. I see him like traveling to MLS on the US, or some markets really similar, like for example Qatar or even China.
I think Messi into Miami, in LA, maybe New York. I can definitely say that. I think it'd be fantastic for MLS. I think the league started off with a bang. It had people like David Beckham, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. It kind of subsided a bit recently. But, Bale and like I said, Chiellini and Rooney going back, I think it makes a difference. And Messi would obviously be the jewel in the crown. And who knows, they might get Ronaldo at the same time.
As a player, I don't think Messi will return to Barcelona. I think he has one more year as to the top. Maybe another year after that. And then I think he might want to just go to something different outside of Europe, MLS, Argentina, whatever he wants to do. I don't think there's enough time now, and I think they've also have moved on from him. I'm not sure it would be a good thing. I'm not always keen on reunions and sort of fairy tale ending when you go back to your old club and then it's all great and you win one last Champions League or I'm not sure. It might happen, maybe. Right now, I don't see it happening at all.
I've always said, and I still believe, there's stuff that we don't know about what happened that summer. Either Laporta or the Messi camp, one or the other, and we still know this because they give different versions of what happened, right? One or the other isn't being entirely truthful, or at least not giving us the whole truth. There's no doubt in my mind that if he had wanted to stay and if Barcelona had wanted him to stay, if those two things had come together, then he would have stayed. Maybe making a heck of a lot less money than he made before and a heck of a lot less money than he ended up making at Paris Saint-Germain. But for me, when I look back at those days, those things that were said, there were ways of making it happen. Again, Barcelona signed other players.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.